Spooky Tuesday.
Halloween, 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 happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
It's almost time, kids. The clock is ticking. Be in front of your TV sets for the horror-thon. And remember the big giveaway at 9. Don't miss it. And don't forget to wear your masks. The clock is ticking. It's almost time.
Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Duff.
And it's Spooktober.
Oh, it's beautiful. That was gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Did you improvise that?
That's
Yeah,
an
I did.
original song from Sydney.
Wow. What a
Do
twinkle.
we deserve anything less for the premiere of season 3?
That's
Yeah, we gotta kick it off with a
true.
bang.
That's our new jingle for the
She's gonna do it
podcast.
all
Just
month.
that sound. Just that sound bite. No, she's gonna do it live every episode.
Every time.
Each episode she'll add a verse.
Oh no,
really
that's a lot of
gorgeous.
pressure. I'll work
Well,
on it,
guess
though.
what, bestie? You got this ball rolling.
No. But welcome back for our extremely long 1 week hiatus. That wasn't even
It's-
actually a hiatus.
I know you've been scared. I know you've been missing us, but we're so glad to be back. Wow.
We are the jump scare. Boo. And this week, we are
Mhm.
doing a movie
Technically,
Oh.
it is.
I
movie.
think could possibly be the stupidest movie I have ever seen.
No, we did
boy-
told you on this podcast. So
But- Boy, did I love this movie.
Oh my God.
What movie? What movie is the stupidest movie that I loved? What is it? Are you asking? Well, it is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Baby. What a trip.
I
I
would
couldn't
call it that
believe
for
my
sure.
eyes.
it was very interesting to me in the sense that it had so much shared DNA with other horror movies, Troll 2 being one of them, Invasion of the Body Snatchers being another really big one. But it something in the way that it was structured played more nicely with me than Troll 2 did, which I did not like. That said, I did watch this movie on like 1.3 speed instead of at its normal speed, and that felt like a very normal pace. So I cannot imagine how it would have felt like it was crawling by if I had watched it at the speed it was intended to be viewed. So that helped. I think that did a lot for my experience.
This is not the same type of movie as Troll 2. Troll 2 has had a
It's a
curse
lane of
amongst
its
the-
own.
Yeah, these are non-comparable. This movie is just bad it's also bad, but in a very different way. A very different way.
In what? How is it that different though?
That type of bad.
But I don't think that. I think
I think
I
I have
think
a
they're
more
bad in
discerning
similar
taste for
ways.
type
Oh.
of bads than
Excuse
you
me.
do.
Oh.
I have a
I think-
higher tolerance for bad, and therefore I see more nuance within the shit. You know what I mean?
Yes, but I could be off base. Maybe my discernment sucks, and you're totally right.
You're just being an asshole.
That's okay. I forgive you. But I feel like Troll 2 is. We think of it as bad in the way that Thanksgiving is bad, but Troll 2 was not bad on purpose. You know what I mean? They just had a lot working against them.
Troll 2 was
But-
perfect and not bad at all. I have no idea what you were talking about,
Yeah.
Chelsea.
Also that.
Okay. Whatever. But I
You
don't
know
know. I
this
feel
is
like
a
it
pro.
was the same thing where everybody who was making this originally thought like, oh man, this is gonna be the film. And I actually do think this is like not. I mean, I would have some suggestions for this movie. But I think it like was actually pretty strong as a story for the most part.
Yeah. There's just
I
other
thought
parts
the
of it.
plot was great. Like
The plot was great.
the concept is incredible. Like it's original, which I love. Listener, if you happen to have skipped Halloween 3,
Which I
like
think a lot of people have.
a lot of people
Probably.
have, Halloween 3 does not have Michael Myers in it at all. A big shocker. If you were expecting a trilogy of Michael Myers, since the first 2 Halloweens had Michael Myers and the rest of the Halloweens have Michael Myers. But Halloween 3, the redheaded stepchild of Halloween, is about kids all over America want silver shamrock masks for Halloween. Dr. Daniel Chalice?
Chalice.
is the-
Sure.
Yeah.
Doesn't
seeks
matter.
to uncover a plot by Silver Shamrock owner Colonel Cochran. Dun dun dun.
Seriously, it's an incredible byline right there. It's a silver shamrock twice. That's
Here's the
really
thing.
important. Brand recognition. That's the name of the game. That's the whole point of the movie.
This movie gives us horror. This movie gives us mystery. This movie gives us sci-fi. This movie gives us an incredible song.
I
Eight more days
loved
till
it.
Halloween, Halloween.
It is a jingle.
Eight more
It is
days
a
till
jingle.
Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
I
And
mean, it's
set
London
to-
Bridge is falling down. So.
I
It is
know!
London Bridge. It is. They did that because they wouldn't have copyright on that song. That's literally why. They're like, oh, you want to do a jingle? We'll use fucking London Bridge because I'm not paying for that shit.
Savvy, smart,
It is
incredible.
smart. And you're like, wow, I love that song. It sounds so familiar. Because it's London Bridge. It makes you feel safe right away.
Okay, but also, let's see. What is the day? Hold on. Stick with me.
Do you want me to
Here,
say
I'm
it?
with you.
It
I'm
is
with you.
October 4th. What is 31 minus 4? 1, 2,
27.
27 days till Halloween,
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 Halloween.
Halloween.
27 days till Halloween, Spooky Tuesday.
Wow.
Oh my God. What a beautiful turn at the end.
That was
Thank
gorgeous.
you.
Thank
Spooky
you.
Tuesday. Wow. Catchy.
Incredible. Incredible. Wow. That's something about that jingle just really resonates with me. I can't put my finger on it, but there's something about it. This movie starts off as weird as it ends, I would say. And that's something that I like. We love spooky bookends. I also love that this movie, like, one, tried to do something different. John Carpenter was like, fuck Michael Myers. And also, a lot of the times, I'm like, fuck Michael Myers. And so I relate to him in that way, you know? He was like, this is tired. This is not something that I want to do. Let's even though we started down the path of making Halloween all about this one dude, let's go back to the original idea where it was an anthology thing, but let's not market it that well. So no one knows. I like that. It's a prank.
I think they even said that, like, in the marketing of this movie, like, they had Michael Myers in there. So people, and he's in this movie
He is.
briefly.
Dude,
In his
I
own way.
I cannot believe that they did that. That they're like, yeah, in Halloween 3, it's a universe where the Halloween movie exists. Like, I'm just
Right?
like, oh my God, I can't handle it.
And they're like, the Halloween classic. And we're like, okay, tooting your own horn here. But it is.
I mean,
It's not
they're
wrong.
right. They're right.
Look, you have to work on your own positive self-talk, okay?
Yeah. I mean, I just love that they're like, I don't care what I know. I know what millions of fans want, and I'm not gonna fucking give it to them. Good. I read all these articles that are opinion pieces from people being like, fuck you, I love this shit anyway. And they're like, They're like all these sheeple who just wanted more Michael Myers.
Oh my
Like,
God, the sheeple.
I know. They're like, maybe if you took a time to think about it, you'd realize how great of a movie this is. The comment section was a bloodbath, people. People were like, you're a fucking idiot. This movie is trash. And anyone who thinks it's good is trash. And then someone was like, he was like, I bought a box set DVD of all of the Halloween movies and I took out the DVD for this one and I threw it in the garbage. Somebody replied, okay, if you're talking about this specific, very expensive like box set, I know that you would never throw that one away because it was so expensive and then you wouldn't have the complete set anymore, so that's bullshit. And the guy was like, how do you fucking know me? Like, it was
Oh
literally
my God.
it was
Brawl breaking out.
it was wow. I was taken aback.
Michael Meyer girlies like to tussle, you know?
Getting
The Michael Meyer
heated.
girlies are fiery and they're passionate, and I respect that. Okay. And they also like let you know that they're a Michael Myers girly. If someone's a Michael Myers girly, they have a Michael Myers shirt and they wear it, and it's when it's not Halloween. And I like that about them.
Good to know.
I like
That's how
being-
you identify.
I like people who are all about their shit. They're like loud and proud. This is my thing that I like the most. And if it's Michael Myers, that's great. I don't agree with you, but that's fine. We can agree to disagree because I love this movie, even though it sucked at the same time. I think on 1.3 speed, that sounds ideal though. Because it did get a little slow at some points, but it starts out really good. I thought that the intro was very spooky, scary.
It was so long with the title credits though, and stuff.
That was very long.
That was several minutes, and it was gorgeous. I loved the 80s computer vibes.
Oh, with the lines and the
I did need
pumpkin.
them to speed it up a little because I was already watching, and I sped up even more during that part.
It's just to set the groundwork to be like, yeah, computers are going to be a part of this. This is about the
baby.
technological era.
This is
Okay.
the future.
Mm-hmm. It's like this is going to be about pumpkins and computers, and you know that from this 10-minute long sequence.
And then they revealed it was like little digital computer artwork at the end, and I was like, okay, cute. But I was ready to move on. I was ready.
but over it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the actual action intro of this movie though. It was giving me X-Files vibes. This entire movie, I love this. I loved the concept of this movie. I think it would have been better served as an X-Files episode though, just because it would have been a little more succinct, and I would have loved to see Scully and Mulder's take on it, and I would have preferred them to our actual two main characters because I have a lot of strong feelings about them, and we'll get there. But that said, the beginning was really giving me X-Files because it just felt like one of those openings, like this man running, you have no idea what's going on, the car chasing him everywhere, these like stoic men in suits. I was really hoping this was going to be an alien movie, but I'm not mad that it wasn't, because this was much more interesting. But yeah, I mean, you get so many great things right away. You get a man who's bad at hiding. You get a man, he's bad at hiding. He was like, oh, I hid for 1 second. Let me go bing, bang, boom on all these loud things and make every dog in the entire world bark at me. So then the spooky guys come back. He's doing his best, but not very
But it's
stealth.
not very good.
But this opening does build a lot of great tension
Totally.
because you're like, what is going on? What is the mystery? Why was this man where he was in the first place?
The thing I'm confused about, and I don't know if this is jumping too far ahead, so stop me if it is.
Okay.
But is Santa Mira, because that's the town they end up going to, right? Is it
Mhm.
very close to the original town? Because do they not have the nice toy man from the opening sequence? Do they not still have his car at their factory? As we find out later, how did he get back to his town? I'm confused. I'm super confused. I'm also like, what state is this man in general? I don't know. I just like,
I
They're supposed to be in Northern California.
yeah.
I think there's some travel because at some point in IMDb trivia they say when they go to Los Angeles blah blah blah, and I was like, when did they go to Los Angeles?
They don't go to Los Angeles. There's a sequence where they show all these different cities where all the kids are wearing the silver shamrock masks, and it shows the different cities, and like that just to show that like kids all over the United States have these masks. That's what that was.
And
I
Ellie,
hear you, but here's what IMDb trivia says. It says, while in Los Angeles, Chalice and Ellie are investigating inside her father's novelty store, but the building is used externally, blah, blah, blah. That's just like a trivia about the building. But it says when they're in Los Angeles investigating the store. So it's definitely not the montage scene that they're talking about.
Oh, well, I didn't know
But
it
they
was
could-
set in
they could
Los
be wrong.
Angeles.
It says Northern California in the beginning, and then they go to Santa
No,
Mira.
she's from Los Angeles, and she traveled all the way up there to where the guy was from, I thought, to check, like, identify the body, to Northern California.
I'm
and
willing to believe that IMDb is wrong and you are right, because when I read it, I also went, huh?
I'm pretty sure I'm right, because at that point they hadn't gone on a road trip to go look at his store. They weren't that invested in each other at that point in their investigation that he would be traveling 6 hours with her without any signaling of that happening. I think he was from up there and she lived in LA. I think the dad was from up there, from up in NorCal.
that would make sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think there was something on IMDb trivia about a location that I also didn't copy into my notes, apparently. So I think they're just a nearby Northern California Bay Area-ish town. It is interesting to me that they're in Santa Mira, though, because apparently that is also where they go in the 1950s invasion of the Body Snatchers. Like it's the same setting for that one.
Yeah, it's a nod to it.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's so many like vibes. Even like the look of Ellie versus the look of the main character in the 70s invasion of the Body Snatcher. I feel like they looked sort of similar too.
Mhm.
So I don't know if that was necessarily intentional, but it was giving me those vibes.
And like the whole thing with the scientist lady who was like sifting through the remains, that was very in the 70s version where they're like getting what were they, like the food and drug and blah 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 agriculture something, whatever, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they're either like the FDA or something, I'm not sure. Some
And then there's something at the
governmental
end,
place.
but I don't want to say it yet. That was very, very Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Oh yeah, definitely. That was super intentional. But anyway, back to the beginning. I think that I feel very bad for this gas attendant man. This
He's
gas
just trying to stay
station
out
man.
of trouble. He just doesn't want any issues. Please
He's
leave him
getting
alone.
wrapped into so much
He's
shit.
just trying to live his life,
I
and they
know.
won't let him.
They won't let him. And I also love how they do so much to set up that Daniel, aka Tom Atkins, the actor, is a lady killer.
Right.
Like in the beginning, they're like, in case you don't feel this way naturally, Dr. Daniel Chalice gets it left and right.
The man is so horny, and it's just like sex as soon as he's on the TV screen. Immediately, instant.
Immediate. The second one, he's grabbing nurses' asses. The nurses aren't mad. They're grabbing his ass back. Like I thought that was funny that she grabbed his ass back, but I was still like, this is not okay. But
It's not appropriate workplace conduct. But you know, it was the 80s. Smacking butts left and right, I guess, was totally kosher. Who knows?
It's fine
I
as
know.
long as you're smacking back.
Smack back.
Yeah.
In the 80s.
In the
In the
80s, that was what
80s?
consent looked like, you guys.
Exactly.
Sweet God. But I will say that the first kill for this movie was such a shock and was awesome in my opinion. I think all the practical effects in this and like the like I don't know prostheses and like fake heads and everything were so nasty. I loved it.
Really good.
So good. But he literally I was like one, the gloves. He's got this man in a suit has killing gloves, which is cool that he's got killing specific gloves. That's fun.
We should have killing gloves. I feel like
Or driving
it's been,
gloves.
it's been like 2 years now. We should have killing gloves.
Killing gloves. I last time I wore gloves in that any way close to that, like that had the same energy, was like cotillion in 5th grade. So like something about putting on the little gloves on your hand, not for winter, not for cold, for a set, makes you feel very fancy. So maybe he has to feel fancy to do a kill. So good for him.
It's all about the aesthetic.
It was a good look. It looked nice with the suit. It matched kind of well.
He really had creepy Thin Man vibes from Charlie's Angels, is what I thought in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also, I think that guy, and actually, maybe I should double check before I say something dumb and get shot by a million Michael Myers fans.
They wouldn't be listening to this episode. It's not relevant to them.
That's so true. That is so true. I'm pretty sure, and if I'm wrong, just tell me right now, okay? But I think that specific scary henchman man, the one who lights himself on fire later and then comes back later, is that the guy who plays Michael Myers underneath the mask? What is his name? Why can't I find it? Dick Warlock.
Dick Warlock. Yes, Dick Warlock. That's such a great
Warlock.
fucking name.
He's one of them, and
Yeah.
I feel like he should be that one, but I don't
I
know
would
what he
agree.
looks like.
Because IMDb trivia said he's credited under, quote, assassin in the ending credits. And I feel like that first guy, for sure, if I were to pick any of them to be assassin, that's him.
I think that that's him.
He played Michael Myers in Halloween 2, I think,
Yes.
is what IMDb trivia says.
Yeah, apparently this film was done mostly with the same crew as Halloween 2.
They involved a lot of the original Halloween actors too, like Annie, who is in the original Halloween. She's the voice of the ex-wife on the phone.
Well, her
And she's
face
also
is on. She's in the movie. The
I
ex-wife
believe
is
you.
literally in
Yeah,
the
she
movie. There's like a
is.
whole scene when the kids get the masks at the beginning.
I believe
he-
you.
He brings masks, and the mom already bought masks.
She's like, I've got
and
these
she's
better
like-
masks.
Yeah, and they have like a whole fight, and you're like,
I
"Damn,
believe
she's hot."
you.
It's part of the. I'm worried about you that you don't remember this.
I feel like I remembered it, but maybe I was not like clued in enough with who was who yet and what was going on to tie it for sure to character beats.
I just saw that part, and I was like, "That bitch looks like that other lady from the other Halloween." And then I was
That
like,
bitch
"Wait,
looks like that other bitch.
that bitch looks like that other bitch. Hey, it's the same bitch. She looks great. I can't believe she came back alive. How cool."
I remember when I first saw this movie, I didn't realize that they were divorced. And so this whole movie, I was like, wow, this man has just run off with this 20-something and left his wife and kids. And
He would,
now
though.
I'm just like, oh,
He
he's
would.
just a drunk, divorced doctor. So
He's just a classic drug divorce doctor who's hooked up with the coroner and is now hooking up with this very youthful woman.
just fine. He's very horny, very sexy.
Oh my God. I just
He's
like
got a
really
lot
don't
going
find
on.
him to be sexy at all. And so it made all parts of this movie harder for me. And I'm not saying he's not sexy. I'm just saying he's not for me. All right. So this movie wasn't catered to me in that way. But when I saw that it was Annie, like the actress that played Annie, as the ex-wife, and then later on you see that Halloween like exists in the movie. Halloween exists in the universe of Halloween 3. I was like, is his ex-wife supposed to be the actress who played Annie? And like, is this like she's like an actress and she's not working anymore and she's mad because she has to take care of the kids? I was like creating this whole backstory for her based on her being a retired actress after doing the Halloween movie. Anyway,
I mean,
there's
I
a lot
love
of
that.
depth. There's a
I
lot
love
of
that
depth to
vibe.
the film. There's a lot of depth to the film. um, but I just wasn't expecting back to the kill.
Sure.
I was expecting him to poke the guy's eyes out, but I wasn't expecting him to go into the skull and pull out his nose bridge. That was unexpected,
Something.
innovative, and exciting. Such strength, such creativity. I was like, okay, that is a way to kill someone and also make them look silly. Like, okay.
So rubbery to really be like hooking your fingers in there and just tugging
Blech.
things around.
But I do think that part of the kill like establishes like early on that like these are not just weird humans who are very stoic and well dressed. Like there's something either
There's something
extraterrestrial,
suspicious.
yeah, something weird, something not human going on. And we find out very soon that it's just that they're all Irish.
Right? The real villain of this movie is the Irish.
I loved the misdirection in this film where they were like, actually, it's just Irish people that are the villains. But then you're like, oh, wait, no, there's more to it. I'm just like, they're in a dangerous territory there for a second.
Apparently, per IMDb trivia, originally, all of the, I'll call them henchmen for now. All of the henchmen for now, they wanted to cast redheads to really tie into that. They're just Irish charm.
Well, according to some of what I read, like most of them were. Most of the henchmen were redheads.
So
That's
they didn't
incredible.
fill out the extra room, I guess. They
Yeah,
had to get
didn't
some
get
brunettes
100.
in there.
Well, they had to have Dick Warlock in there, and he's not a redhead, so
Sure.
Put him in a
Dick
wig.
Warlock's not gonna dye his hair for the role. Come
I
on.
wish my name was Dick Warlock. That is like
could
the
change it.
coolest.
Yeah, it's within your
That's
power.
true. When like if Adam and I get married, we're not going to take each other's last names or combine them. We're going to choose a new last name, and it's going to be Warlock.
No, it's gonna be Dick hyphen Warlock. So you'll be Monica Dick Warlock, Adam Dick Warlock.
I think that really
love
sounds
that.
nice. Monica Adeline Dick Warlock.
Rolls
I
off the
love it.
tongue.
It really does. There's just the right amount of syllables in there. Is that a haiku in and of itself? Almost. We'll add a couple more in
Spiritually.
there. Um sorry, I just really like that idea.
Run it by Adam.
I think he's gonna love it.
Yeah, he's down. There's no way he's not down.
Yeah. But yeah, we pretty quickly get Ellie in the mix, and I will say that she is super cute and adorable.
She's so cute.
She gives me Winona Ryder vibes. She also looks like a Tim Burton character come alive. That's just
A
kind
little
of
bit,
what
yeah.
her
Mhm.
face looks like, which is cool. And very on theme for a spooky movie. It's great. Like she kind of looks like she's claymation. And
Oh,
I wish that I looked like I was claymation, so that's cool too. But I was like really enjoying the whole like we're detectives now, avenging my father's death, blah 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 part. And then like I really didn't need him to fuck. I didn't
Yeah.
need it. I really didn't need it. I didn't need it so much, and I really didn't need how graphic it was.
They were
And-
horny.
We were so horny. She was like, forget my father and forget my name. Let's go. And I was, oh my God. I was like, maybe this is how she's grieving. And I get that grief is messy. And so we will forgive her.
She's like, got me a doctor. It's fine.
oh my God. Okay. Yeah.
why
okay,
do I need
fair.
to worry about anything else? Yeah.
Yeah. And he does walk around like he's the hottest shit on two legs, so that he does have
Maybe
the
he
swag.
is.
He does have the swag. Not for me, but for other people he does. But apparently I know we're skipping around a little bit, but during the sex scene because I don't want to talk about the sex scene again. So we have to do it now. We've already brought it up. There's
Okay.
that weird part where he like sucks on her nipple and you're like, oh my God, why?
I did think it was a little tender.
I was like, I don't see a lot of nipple sucking on in a movie that's not
Yeah.
on HBO Max. So I was like, whoa. I just was mad they were fucking in general. I think I would have liked it other times. But it's
She
because
looks so young, and then he asks her at one point, "How old are you again?" After they've already smashed like
Right?
2 times,
after
and
they've
she's like,
already
"Old
fucked.
enough." She never reveals. I
I'm
think she's
older than I
19.
look.
older than I look.
I think
Oh,
she's supposed to be 20, is what I've read.
He has like 8-year-old kids.
He's literally a full ass doctor. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's like in his like, yeah. Anyway, the reason that the nipple suck was in there was because there was apparently no nipple clause in her contract. So this is a quote from her. She said, "There was no nipple clause in my contract, so they could shoot my breast, but they could not shoot my nipple. Poor Tom Atkins and Tommy Lee Wallace have to shoot around this, have to cover it up here. These things are so technical." So literally her contract was like boob yes, nipple no. And so they could never show the nipple, but they show the outside
skin.
boob part.
Okay.
I know.
Incredible.
I know. It was a big deal. It was a big deal. Apparently many people are deeply disturbed by that part and they were mad. So I don't know.
They're like, how dare she not show nipple?
It was just
Oh my God.
it was a long sex scene. It was a long sex scene. Anyway, also another thing that we skipped over is the coroner who's like doing, oh my God, we skipped over so many things. Remember that part where where Dick Warlock lit himself on fire and exploded?
Yes.
Yes.
That part slapped.
That part was fun.
It was hilarious. He was just like, it's time to go. Glug, 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 glug. Pouring gasoline all over his face. But I really liked that they had the coroner part of the movie as she's doing these like autopsies on what she thinks is the body. Is like being like, oh, they mismarked this one. Oh, they mismarked this one, blah, blah, blah. That was all added in after the fact.
Oh.
Yeah, originally they, well, in my mind, they're like, they realized they didn't establish Tom Atkins' character as a lady killer quite as much. So they had to bring in another woman
More
that he had
ladies
fucked.
to flirt with. Yeah.
But apparently in the original cut, he like, her character exists, but you never see her or establish any relationship, anything with her. And so it's just him one-sided on the phone talking to a coroner. And so it's like weird because it's just like a phone call and it wasn't very effective at all. So after filming the whole rest of the movie, they went back, added her character and added in like her whole subplot, which was what I really loved. Her whole subplot. I think the movie would have suffered without it. So I'm glad they added her in. Her death
Yeah, I
ended
mean,
up
I
being
think
cool too.
yeah. I think also it worked really well as like misdirection at points to be like something creepy is going on, but you don't know what yet. You think maybe the conspiracy is that they're like just trying to hide evidence instead of the fact that the evidence is just not what they initially thought that it was. I thought that was a good storytelling device.
Totally.
And it's weird to think that they just didn't have that at first and then it was like an afterthought.
Yeah, I don't know if like the movie went through like severe rewrites too. Like it originally was written by this like prolific sci-fi writer. Let me find
Neil
his name.
something,
Neil.
right?
Yeah, his name is Nigel Neal, which is a cool name.
Great name.
Yeah, and he's done like incredible stuff. Also, they originally had Joe Dante directing this, y'all. Fuck. That would have been awesome. But then he dropped out and we got Tommy Lee Wallace, who didn't do a bad job, okay? But Nigel Neal wrote it, and then apparently the distributor who did this movie was like, I need it to be gorier, mate. It's not gory enough. It was more like sci-fi-y and like plotty and like psychological. But they're like, nah, this is a slasher brand. We at least need to have some blood and guts and laser face removal. And so they went in and did like extensive rewrites. And I'm not sure who did that. I'm not sure who did the rewrites. I'm sorry, but
I think I have it in my notes. It was Nigel Neal originally, and then I think John
Tommy do it
Carpenter did
himself?
some rewrites, and then Tommy Lee Wallace did additional rewriting
And
after
it was
that.
Tommy who did that as well. Okay, so by the end of it, Nigel didn't feel like it was his movie anymore and it was his script anymore. And so he took his name off of the project, even though it was based off of his idea. And Tommy Lee Wallace says that like it's still 60% of his story, but like Nigel didn't want his name on it anymore. So like it kind of must have gotten a little more muddied when like everybody put their hands in the pot. Cause like we'll get into it later, but there's like important plot parts of this movie that questions have been asked about it, and Tommy Lee Wallace does not know the answer because he didn't think his shit through enough. So like there wasn't a lot of cohesive thought in the rewrites, I don't think.
I mean, okay, but seeing what his response was, I think he's right. He said, "It's magic. That's good enough for me."
Oh, the magic part is fine. I'm talking about the Ellie reveal later on.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
I'll be curious to see what you have to say then.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of criticisms of like different plot holes with this movie. And they're like, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. But like when you have magic in the mix, which we're about to reveal that there's magic in the mix, you can't say shit, honey. It's magic. That's the best
Y'all, did you
part
know there
about
was magic in the mix?
Yo, there's magic in the mix. That's why I'm wearing this witch hat. I'm wearing a witch hat in case you're listening only. I'm wearing a witch hat. We're all wearing spooky things. I'm wearing a witch hat. Chelsea's wearing her Spirit Halloween shirt that I bought her. And Sydney is wearing.
I'm wearing an Auburn sweatshirt because I think our season could be very scary.
That's perfect. That's perfect. I will say, as someone who's going on a road trip this weekend, I did like the road trip aspect of this to a little spooky town. I would like to go to a little spooky town, but no place should have any place with a curfew at 6. Or
6?
I read something where it was 6. It might have been 7:30. It was really early.
Oh my God.
Here's
Yeah.
the thing. Any town that has like a loudspeaker announcement throughout the town is sus.
Get out of there. Speed out of town.
Oh
There's
yeah. 'cause
bad
I
shit
also
happening at
got
night.
Lots of House of Wax vibes from this movie also.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
the fake town.
Especially when
Town
they
felt
start to
fake.
reveal, the town is fake, people in it may or may not be fake, etc.
Oh yeah, all the people like when they first walk into the town or drive into the town are all ogling them like who the fuck, you know?
That
Why
felt
would
troll
you
too,
come
though.
to our town?
That felt troll too, but also it's like a lot of other that's a trope in other
Sure.
movies too, like small towns being like intruder alert. What the fuck is up? I loved everything that went down in the town though. Like I loved how bizarre because they were at that motel. There's nobody fucking there, and all of a sudden, everyone in the entire world shows up. Like, and it's
The Rose of Shannon Motel.
oh
It is
my
so
God.
cute though. It
It's
is very cute.
It's very, very cute. And I also love that Margaret, whatever the fuck, was like so excited. Look at all these people who love to sell Halloween masks. That's the real tragedy here. These are lovely people cut of the same cloth as us, spookies through and through, and they're being slaughtered just for doing what they love.
They love pranks and
They love
Halloween masks.
They love
They
the
are
two-
us.
2 tenets of Spooky Tuesday: pranks and spooky masks, spooky costumes.
Okay, but I will say there are 3 masks and 3 of us. And
They gotta sell
I
them.
have assigned us each masks.
Oh, tell me.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Okay. Chelsea, I think you would be the pumpkin mask.
The star.
Monica, you will be the witch mask.
Fair.
And I am skeleton mask.
Oh my God, I love it.
And it even goes with all of our
Wow.
outfits.
True. I set
Wow.
myself up for that one. Even though I like that one least, it does have the biggest chin and therefore it's fitting. I can accept that. It just kind of looks like me
It
if I
just
was green.
works.
Sometimes the vibes are right. Sometimes they're
Sometimes, yeah,
there.
I have to accept it. That's fine. And
Okay,
Chelsea
I
is
love that you
definitely
did
the
that though.
pumpkin.
Thank you. I love that you did that. There was also another line that made me think of you. This is from the end, so I won't give any context for it for a second, but it was something when he was like, "We don't decide these things, you know, the planets do." And I was like, that is so Sydney core.
That is, I thought the exact same thing. I thought the exact same thing.
Brand is strong.
I think, like you were saying, Chelsea, in not so many words, this movie does meander quite a bit and could use a little upping of the speed of view. But like the big plot points that happen, like slap, like the man who like lives behind the buildings that what's his real name? Dan? Is that the name of the main guy? Tom Atkins. The Tom
Yes.
Atkins
Dr. Chalice.
Dr. Chalice, that the doctor meets. I loved like his like I love that he's just like, I don't have any diseases. Can I have some alcohol? He knows to preface it, you know. I wouldn't give
He shot
someone
his
who didn't
shot.
tell me specifically I don't have any diseases my alcohol, so fair. But he also, you know, shouldn't be shouting out against Mr. Cochran when he has cameras everywhere and it's past cute curfew. I was sad to see him go and see him literally decapitated by pure force. I was hoping his spine would come out.
That would have been cool.
That would have been incredible.
I would have liked that. I've seen some movies where they de-spine people and it's always exciting. So I was a little disappointed.
It felt very like Volturi beheading style. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. Yeah, exactly. Literally, exactly. Yeah.
They just kind of pluck it off.
Yeah, not yeah. Okay, they just pluck it off, but like for some reason with in Twilight, everyone is actually made of stone when they're killed and they just shatter kind of. It's so weird. But this one, when they ripped his head off, there was that true geyser of blood that came out of his
Mhm.
neck stump. That
It was
cool.
beautiful.
That
It was
gorgeous.
beautiful. A sight to
I-
see.
I thought it was interesting though in that scene, just how weirdly sexual the vibes were
Oh,
as
yeah, they
the
put
two
him
guys
down.
cornered him and like got him on knees
I
between them.
agree. I was like, what are they gonna make him do before
What's
they just kill
happening
him?
here?
Oh my God. Yeah,
There's
my
a
mind
lot
went to
of
scary places.
unnecessarily like sensual moments
Like
throughout
her
this
little
movie.
lingerie thing. Like, girl, did you pack that with you or did you run out and buy it? Where did that come? She's just got it on underneath the whole time under her little Marty McFly but girly outfit.
Oh my God. I just remembered that also the part where she's like, let's go for round 3. You know? Oh God.
He's
I was
like,
like,
"Are
why
you
won't-"
tired?"
I was like, why
She's like,
won't it
"Not
end?
at all."
I was like, let it end. I was like, aren't you tired, Ellie? Don't you think it's time to go to bed? Me as a viewer would like you to go to bed.
Ellie,
That's
it's
how
past
you
your
know
bed.
she's too young for him because she's on that marathon beat.
Yeah, no, they're not matched in that way. But I love the Margaret part. She has a great vibe, very stoked to be a spooky lady selling masks. Also she's smart and she's curious and we love that. And she's giving her first and last name out to strangers, which is something that I would do also.
That is something you would do.
I did that on the street at 3 a.m, like a couple of weeks ago, because unfortunately my Instagram handle is my first and last name. And some guy was like, I'll invite you to this party. What's your Instagram? And I said it out loud and I was like, if you can spell it, you can follow me. And then I got in my Uber and it drove away. I thought it was a cool exit, but also I was like, this man knows my first and last name. And what if he does figure out how to spell it? He didn't. We're fine. Don't be like me, kids. Anyway. But I love the reveal that like it's like wait, what's behind the logo of the shamrock, the silver shamrock? A weird thing that looks like a computer part. I don't know what that's called. A
Chip?
A chip. Thank you. A computer chip. I was like mainframe. I don't know. Why go at it with a hairpin though? Does that do something? Does anyone here know about chips?
I think just, you know how sometimes you are looking for little tools around your apartment or whatever, and you're like, will a bobby pin work? Do I have any safety pins anywhere? When you need to just like reset things or dig underneath something, but you don't have nails.
Yeah, maybe she was trying to get it out so she could like put it in her USB drive of her laptop that she did not have because it was 1980 something. So never
She just
mind.
wanted to poke at it and see what the deal was. I mean, that's actually really interesting. I don't know what bobby pins were made out of in the 80s, and I also don't know what they're made out of today.
At all.
That's my guess though, is like maybe it was like the metal was conducting electricity or whatever, and that's why it had the misfire, as opposed to just she was like getting wonky with it, you know what I mean? But
I
it
don't
also feels
know.
very lady detective, girl boss, small business queen vibes to be like, let me pull out a barrette from my hair
From my perfectly coiffed hair,
Yeah.
by the way.
Exactly.
I think it's like kind of a huge design flaw if you just like poke at it with some metal a little bit and then a big laser shoots out. Like I feel like that's not super incognito, because I don't know if you know this thing about kids, but they don't they like get their shit and everything. They'll rip off anything. They'll break anything. They're gonna rip those tags off if they're not E600 glued on, you know?
I so hear you. But also I don't think preserving child safety was really a concern. So I don't
Well,
Not
think
in
they're
the
fine with that.
80s.
No. But y'all, it's counter to the plan. The plan is to kill as many children as possible. If one kid gets lasered in the face, then there will spawn a recall of all the masks and the plan is fucked. They still cared
Nobody
about
did
that shit
recalls
back
in the
then.
80s. Nobody did
Yeah.
recalls
It
in the
would have
80s.
gotten on the local news. My child was shot in the face by a laser and turned into a snake. Like that would have caused some alarm, you know? It
I
coulda
hear
started
you.
some hubbub. They could have lost like 15 kids to
But
dying
he
on
and his
Halloween night.
army of redheads clearly are wielding a lot. He's made so much money from just gags and pranks, you know? So he's very wealthy. He could silence whatever story he needs to silence.
God damn it, you're probably right.
Big business
Don't
out
mess
here
with the
squashing the
Irish.
news.
Oh my god. Well, okay, we just have to say words about the effects that they used post laser.
The way the laser shot out of her eyes also was so alarming to me. But it was, I think I liked it, the visual effects that they did. I think I liked the laser.
The laser was just a big old laser for me, and then like her whole face. I didn't think it shot out of her eyes. I thought her
Her mouth.
It
her
shot
mouth.
her. It shot like
Oh,
across her mouth, like right. That's what I thought. What did you think, Sydney? I thought it shot across like her lips and like burnt her lips away and like burnt her teeth off, and then her eye was like fried out. Her like the eye out that we were looking at. That's what
You
I
know
thought.
what I really didn't like in that scene is the way that her
Thank
feet went
you.
like this and they wiggled.
Okay, that's why I was confused about that. Okay, also, but must be said, potato bug come out of her mouth. A potato bug. That's a
What is
potato
a
bug.
potato
The
bug?
bug that
Is
came
that
out of
the
her
same as
mouth
an
is called
earwig?
it's called a potato bug. No, I don't think
Potato
so. His earwig might fit in your ear. Potato bug would never fit in your ear. A potato
It is
bug
gross,
is
regardless.
a bug that looks like it's an alien, and thusly you saw it coming out of your mouth, and you're like, "What the fuck?" And then it went into her beautifully coiffed hair. When I was a child, I was swimming in my pool, and then I saw at the bottom of the pool, a potato bug, and I thought it was an alien. Scared the ever loving shit out of me. I could not believe it. Of course, I then picked it up out of the pool and examined it for hours. And so I saw it and I was like, it's a potato bug. I knew immediately that it was a potato bug because
You studied them.
they're fucking weird
closely.
looking, man. They're so bulbous.
You
They're
thought
like
it was
just
an
Googled
alien
a
and you
potato-
fished it out?
Yes, of course.
Classic
Have you
Monica.
met me? Come on. Of course I did.
That
This is why I
that
die first. This
scans.
is why I die first in the horror movie. I would
Yeah.
put up a good fight, but not really because I'd be too busy. Like, what's that
You'd
sound?
get got
I'll
too
look.
fast. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, this was a potato bug. I was hoping for more potato bugs later, but they switched bugs. Disappointing. Maybe that's an expensive bug to get. I don't know.
It's so fascinating to me that the effects of the laser computer chip are that it manifests bugs in your body.
Magic is very interesting and special.
Especially Stonehenge magic.
Stonehenge magic. That shit's wild.
And it's ancient.
So we got a potato bug. You said the wiggly feet. The wiggly
Yes.
feet. At first, I was like, she's having a wiggle because she's having a death spasm. We just saw a death spasm last week when Candace died in FD5.
We also had a laser last week too.
Oh my god.
we
It was all
did.
planned.
Maybe
Wow.
that's why I said the
love-
laser came out of her eye.
I love when we're so good at this.
We're like, really, it's incredible. It's the themes. The
We
themes
do it
come
every
to
time.
us.
We
it's beautiful.
never miss.
We
Never
never miss here on Spooky Tuesday. But I was wondering, was that the death spasm or was she already dead and was that like little snakies in her feet or something? Because I thought maybe like the buggos and the snakos were like coming out down there because you don't see necessarily that it actually is her feet. Doesn't really matter, but it's fun to imagine. if
That's an
they-
interesting point because I also was confused initially at watching that scene, and that's because I think there was like some interesting cuts to our couple next door in bed together, and I thought maybe it was just being like they're so cute playing footsie in bed together while this lady dies next door.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it was her wiggly feet, I think. So
Yeah.
I think maybe just death throes. Maybe it took her a little bit longer to die than it seemed. I think just that potato bug. I
It
don't
was
think
only
there
a
was
short
the
burst of
same-
the laser.
Yeah, and it didn't fire as intended. It misfired. And also maybe there's something to the children versus adults of it all because we don't see any other
only
adult
manifest potato bugs in
humans
adults, yeah.
reactions. Yeah.
I also just want to point out how her teeth were all broken off. And it was really fucked up and disgusting and awesome.
Scary.
It was so scary. It was cool. It was so cool. All the practical effects are so cool. And they're like, some of them are so subtle. Like the one with the kid later. I was like, oh my God, I wish I could pull that mask off, you know?
So scary with the kid later.
So scary. But next we get to go actually into the fucking factory. And
I love the factory.
I've never been so jazzed in my life. I was like,
Wait,
what?
before that, he gets the moment where he's calling the lady on the phone to do some more flirts with her. And he's like, I'm always ready for dinner with you. But then they reveal that he's like, can you look up anything on Connell Cochran? They reveal that the office is bugged because he's got the whole town bugged because his big plan has to do with
It's
bugs.
bugs.
It's bugs, baby.
Bug. He loves a theme. A
He
man
loves a
after
theme.
my own heart. Oh
Look,
my God. Can't be mad at him if he's just committed.
can't
you
be
know?
mad.
Can't be mad. What's the death of a million children? For the theme. But
He's committing to
just-
the bit, okay?
I love those videos. I never watch them. I only when they come to me do I watch them. But those like how it
Okay.
gets made videos, I
Mm.
never seek them out. But when I find out how something gets made, I get very, very, very excited. And so then when they got to go on the tour and they were showing how the masks were made, I was like, the rest of the movie could just be this. A
It was-
video of
yeah.
the masks being painted. I would be very interested in that. He was like really explaining the process, like actual schooly. And I was like, well, that makes a lot of sense. And they have the cool molds. And I was like, I wonder why the skull one is black compared to the other ones, because they all have black details. And then I was like, oh, because it's supposed to look like the skull head is floating. I understand now, because the neck part is dark. I was having a great time. And then they go into the toy room, and I was like, yes.
Yeah, I wrote this to her rules in my notes. But then they just immediately afterwards listed off a bunch of his pranks, and some of them sounded bad. And then they cut right to that weird Native American toy.
American
And I was like, oh,
band,
they're
right?
just like speed running offensive material here. It truly
Yeah.
was.
He was like, don't you know sticky toilet paper? Or what about the floppy chainsaw? The Sonic chainsaw. And what was the third
Sticky
one?
toilet paper does seem like a fun prank, though.
That does. What's the floppy chainsaw? Like, you go to someone, you look like you're gonna off their neck, and then it's just like flops over. Ha ha. That's so funny. What a prank. You thought you were gonna die.
We could have made millions, guys. We have great pranks.
We have amazing pranks. Oh, what was the other one? I wrote it down.
We don't have the
Oh, that's what it is.
distribution.
The the first one was okay. I can't say that word. The dead insert word that starts with a D.
It's not offensive to say
It's not?
dwarf.
Okay,
No.
okay. I wasn't sure. The dead
I
dwarf
don't think
guy.
you-
The
Yeah, I'm
soft
sure the
chainsaw?
dead dwarf joke itself was offensive, but
What's the dead dwarf guy? What is it? What is that?
We have questions.
What is it? I need to know. He just said it so flippantly, like everyone should know. And I was like, I don't know. Is this an anachronism thing? Is this like a thing where I'm not old enough to know?
I
And
feel
everybody who watched this in the 80s knew. I need to know.
it's possible, but I mean, if you recall from the early 2000s, there just also was a period of time where people made dwarf jokes. And so I think it's possible that just the idea of a dead dwarf is the joke, maybe. I don't know.
I have news for you. I have an update. Do
Okay.
not Google the phrase dead dwarf guy.
Oh my God. Yeah,
no.
that's probably good advice.
I thought that a toy it was gonna pop up right away, and I thought it might be real, but instead I'm very sad.
I think we can skip right past that. I think we can move on.
Yeah, we're gonna but like I was having a really good time seeing all of his toys, and I thought they were all really cool. And then of course they got racist so fast. And I was like, why does this have to happen? Why can't we stick with the weird alien guys spinning around and that sort of a thing? I like those type of old toys, but there's always something haunted in them more ways than one.
Sure. Yeah. But yeah, I think that they cut soon to the whole like volatile chemicals. There's something in the finishing room, blah, blah, blah. These men all look like the men who killed your father. Like they kind of speed run a little bit the reveal that like they knew something spooky was going on, obviously.
Yeah. And
but
then the car's there.
mhm.
And
Yeah.
they do that really awkward, like almost Irish exit.
Ooh, funny. A
Funny. I wasn't
joke.
really intending that joke, but it just happened. But yeah, Ellie can't keep her fucking cool, man. You can't run towards the car when there's like 7 men around it and it's broad daylight. You got to go back under the stealth cover of night to do your investigative work, okay? But again, she's going through a lot.
She's got a lot on her plate, a lot on her mind, a new boyfriend that she's dealing with.
Ooh, yeah. Oh my God. Also, I was just so mad when they got back to the like motel room. They're like, we need to go right now. And he's like, yeah, let me just leave you alone really fast. When we know
Right.
that this
And let me
entire
leave the
town
door
is
cracked.
bugged.
Just
The
leave the door a
entire
little
town.
ajar. Why? That's dangerous.
Yeah, no, it was terrible. And then she was fucking gone. And then we had a 27-year-long compilation of him
Chase.
running around and hiding.
Slinking down in the
Incredible.
phone booth as if the whole thing isn't made of glass.
Right? It was him
But I
being
did like-
sexy.
Oh my God. I just had a
I did
flashback
like
to the part where where his butt's in it and he pulls his pants up and he's like,
yeah.
like swaggers up to the door to go see what's going on outside. I was like, fuck off. Like this machismo, I can't handle it. He's like,
They're just
don't
on an
worry,
all-night
baby. I'll
fuck-a-thon.
check it out.
He's a
Tom
man, okay?
Atkins. Tom Atkins is the manliest man that ever was.
He
Apparently.
is the man of like that all men think is like so hot and so sexy and like such like a man.
Blowing off his ex-wife and kids, flirting with every lady.
That's what men want to do. Are you kidding?
Yeah. I hate that for them
he
and
has
also
that.
for us.
Is he wearing a wig in this?
I didn't get wig vibes, but I don't know that I was looking for them.
There was something up. There was a vibe. I was like, something's not believable here. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It just wasn't for me. And usually I'm into everyone. And so it was hard for me.
I will say I'm looking on IMDb photos to try and see if can I see if he looks wiggy to me. There were some banger posters for this movie.
Oh yeah?
They're very cool. I'll have to post a couple of them on social maybe, but yeah, lots of great vibes.
I love that. Maybe it was just his hair color that was a little strange. Ooh. Oh, I'm seeing what you're saying. Nice. Okay.
I don't think he's wearing a wig.
No, it's just a weird color for him. Should go a darker brown, I think.
He's a little blonde and
he was
blonde
almost
is for girls.
ginger, and he can't be ginger in this movie.
Not when the antagonists are gingers.
No. Also, I really liked all the different Irish accents that I got to hear. There was many different ones. And there was the assistant lady or receptionist lady at the front of the shop, and she had like a scritchy scratchy voice with an Irish accent, and I was like, I could listen to your voice all day. Thank you, ma'am. But during this awfully long chase scene, we finally get to the meat and potatoes of this movie, which is when he busts down the door in the factory and he's like, hello, old-fashioned woman who seems to be knitting here. Where's Ellie?
Which is wild.
Just like, of course, the interior room is a knitting lady, just a little old lady who's knitting. That's the secret.
She'll know where Ellie is.
Tell me, you old lady. Don't
Well,
knit when my woman is gone.
I think it's very reasonable to assume when you walk into a factory and find an old lady that she's clearly the mommy of the CEO, therefore the true boss. I think that's a reasonable jump to make, personally.
It's like in Futurama where, what is it? Mom, what's her name? The old lady that runs the robot factory.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, it's been so long.
I think it's Mom.
I believe you.
It would be fitting. She does something similar. She's knitting and then her head falls off.
No, but
she's
she
in control of the robots, it sounds like.
She's in control of the robots and she pretends to be like a frail, like old lady, and then she's a badass bitch.
Oh.
Just like this lady whose head got squished off or turned to goo. I forget what happens to her.
Her head doesn't
just
get
pops
squished off.
off.
It just falls off, and then he sees all the cogs inside, and you're like, holy fuck. Like, okay, I get that they're like all machines, but I wish that they had like leaned into them all being toys, you know, because the toy vibe was the whole thing. I like, technically you can imagine that they are like toys, but I don't know, that would have been like creepier for me because he's known for his toy work and blah 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 blah. It would have been more obvious if they looked that way, but I don't know. I just would have liked that verbiage used a little bit more. A little marionette vibe, a little doll month energy.
Love that.
Yeah, I think toy as opposed to robot, that could have really done something thematically for this movie, but I guess robot's fine.
Oh, well, yeah, it's fine.
I guess.
It's like animatron. I don't even know. There's like, they have goo inside. That was the fucking
the
sickest
goo
reveal ever. When they have that big old fight and that somehow Doctor wins by you know that thing when you punch someone in the stomach and then you pull out a handful of like of like sweet
Goo?
potato bisque. Like that was literally like potato bisque what is it? Which one am I talking about? From Trader Joe's. It's that exact color. It's like brown butter sage.
Yes.
Is it butternut squash?
Butternut squash.
It's butternut
Classic.
squash soup. I bet you that's what they used.
I know what they used. It's somewhere in my notes.
Butternut squash soup
how
from
am I
Trader
gonna
Joe's. Oh my god!
find it though is the question.
With the goo, blood, butternut squash soup. If you look that up, I'm pretty sure that'll come right up.
I would have thought corn or
roasted
meal would turn it up, but
sage,
hmm.
butternut squash soup.
They
brown
didn't say Trader
butter.
Joe's brand, tragically. I don't know why they would leave
That's
that
so
off.
weird, 'cause that's exactly the color.
That's
was
the
such
title of this episode, butternut squash.
delicious.
that is. And that is a really good type of soup. And so it was upsetting to see it come out of apparently maybe Dick Warlock's tummy.
Orange juice concentrate.
It looked so much more muted than that. Oh, well, I guess concentrate kind of looks weird and gross like
Maybe
that
it's the
sometimes.
color fixing in the movie too. They could have adjusted.
It was
tone down that
disgusting. It looked
orange.
like bile also. It was awesome.
It
It
was
was
okay.
a
Do you
great
remember
reveal.
from our season 1 finale, throwing it back, when we did Alien and they have that robot reveal that also has goo in it as well. But theirs
That
was
was milk.
milky as opposed to butternut squashy.
That was like the inside of a poinsettia. Poinsettia? I don't know how you say that. Flower. You ever broken off a leaf from a poinsettia plant? The red
I don't
Christmas
know.
plant. The red
guess
Christmas
not.
plant. You
Yeah, I
break
know
it
what you're
off,
talking about.
It has milk white blood.
Now I know.
Yep. Technically sap, but I like to think of it as blood.
As blood.
As
Yeah.
blood.
As blood.
Blood. But anyway, I feel like the next bit of this movie was the most unhinged shit I've ever seen in my life. And that's not true, but I was like, there's a lot of talk going on right now, and all of
Okay,
it's
but
nuts.
I don't want to skip the part in the elevator when they're finally doing the robot reveal and one of the robots sneezes and he's like, convincing, isn't it? I just thought that's fun. I thought that was
trained
fun.
them to smell, to feel
Programmed
joy.
those sneezes in there. Although IMDb trivia was like the robots almost never blink on screen, which is like a weird thing to leave out of the design if you are including sneezes. But personally, I didn't notice, and I thought the sneeze was fun. So
The sneeze was very fun. That was hilarious. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I liked how humanoid they were. Like that's affecting to like misdirect you in the beginning. But again, I'm still thinking about the toy thing. I am. I can't help it.
if they had little wind up knobs in the back, even.
But here's the thing. Do you ever just like steal Stonehenge?
I haven't because I would be afraid to get in trouble, but
Mm.
I can see people who do crimes stealing Stonehenge.
I would steal Stonehenge. Easy.
Yeah.
Of course. I think
Like if I just showed up one day and I was like, I'm gonna steal Stonehenge, you would believe it.
very
Irish
national
national
treasure,
treasure.
Wiccan
Yeah.
conversion. Of
Is
course.
Stonehenge in Ireland? I thought it was in England.
No, it's in England. It's a big witch stone. I said stone weird.
You sure did.
Stone. It's like, I don't know. They're trying to go for like a druid type of witch that this ends up being. Not just
Celtic.
like, yeah.
Which is where Halloween like originates from, so it makes sense.
Yeah,
Samhain.
Samhain and all of that. I loved the witch part of this. I wish we got more witch, you know?
I would have
Mhm.
liked a little more witch.
Considering it's Halloween 3 season of the witch.
He said witch once. Maybe 2 times.
Somebody on IMDb was also like, technically, he would be a warlock, which is a
Dick
reference
Warlock.
to Dick Warlock.
Dick
Um,
Warlock.
But I think
There were
boys can
2
be witches
warlocks
if they
in the
want to
movie.
be.
Yeah, however you want to identify, honey, you do it. And he did. But I love that he was like, you'd never fucking believe how we got Stonehenge here. And like part of like this one article I read that was like, these are all the plot holes that people say this movie has, and I'm going to debunk all of them. He was like, they got the stone from Stonehenge there by magic. That's how they did it. That's the only way. Everyone was like, plot hole, logistically, how would they steal the rock and get it across the ocean and blah, 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 blah. Magic, baby, magic.
Who cares? Not me.
Magic.
Don't care. All I know is that they have it. And also, I love the fact that the rock is still like 98% there, and they've made like millions of masks.
You only need a little bit of that Stonehenge magic to kill a child. You know?
Sure.
It's potent. Okay, potent.
Monica's great with words today.
I'm having a time and it's fine. It's because I'm drinking my Halloween cider.
Mm.
It's made from apples. And that's how you know it's time for Halloween. Anyway, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. I just it's just so funny that it's Stonehenge. It's just so fun. Like it makes sense because that's where it was like a sacrificial stone and blah 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 blah. Yeah. Okay, history.
But I loved the foreshadowing at the very beginning when is it the man? The car garage, whatever, at the very beginning, that the
gas
dad,
station attendant.
Oh, the
yes,
gas
that's
station
what it
man.
is. I was like, why can't I remember? He's watching TV, and then we first hear the song. It's 8 Days Till Halloween, and he's watching the news report, and they're like, Stonehenge is missing, and nobody knows why.
Did they say that? I missed it
Yes.
completely.
Oh yeah. That was like the little like it was so weird too at the beginning because you're like, what the fuck? But then
What?
like shit continues on. You got a lot
And
of
you
other
forget
fish to
about it,
fry.
and then you're like, oh my God, Stonehenge.
Oh my god,
It's
Stonehenge?
incredible.
Stonehenge, is that you? I just heard about you on the news. There you are.
We found you. They've been looking for you this whole time. We found you. Don't worry.
Baby, we've been looking for you everywhere.
Oh, I
Oh
see
my
it.
God.
I'm looking at my notes to see if I noticed it at the time and then just forgot about it. I do see now a note about the scene with the mom and the masks. So I double believe you now.
Baby, I wouldn't lie. I would lie, but
I
not about
believed
this.
you before. I
Not
believed you
about
before,
this.
but now I for sure have proof that I noticed it at the time. My eyes didn't fully glaze over. But let's go back to what you were trying to talk about before I was like, we have to talk about the sneeze. Which is this scene with the Kupfer family. In
No one
testing
knows.
room A or whatever. Because it is such a mess. It is really upsetting.
It's so upsetting. I was like, they're dealing with some fucked themes here. I mean, Fear Street was inspired by this movie where they're like, let's kill children, you know? But like, it was gruesome. Like, the mom is like, is she drunk? Like, what's going on with her? She's very
got
goofy, silly.
She's in a silly,
gorgeous
goofy
style.
mood.
Big
Yeah, she does
aesthetic
have gorgeous
choices
style.
style wise.
Yeah. No, she's got the fits. She loves how silly the fake fruit is. I just feel so bad that they walk themselves straight into the trap. It's just so tragic because that dad is so genuine and lovely and wants to be
He's
everyone's
just trying to be
BFF.
the best salesman he can be.
And he's a spooky man just like us, and he wants to plan for next Halloween. He loves to plan, and good for him. He's the best salesman. Oh man, but that kid does suck. But it doesn't deserve to die. But he does suck a little bit. He was a little bit of a brat the whole time. He flipped his mom off in the beginning, so
He was
Not
not
polite.
nice.
not polite. But I thought it was so funny when the mom is like, honey, don't get too close to the screen. It's bad for your eyes. Right before he gets his whole face exploded into buggeroos.
Yeah, that was actually really
Very-
funny.
So funny. Oh my god.
I
don't know.
just the way the pumpkin molded so fast and was like rotting, and then the bugs manifested, and then there were worms, and then there were snakes. And then the snakes were attacking people. It escalated so unbelievably fast. I hated it a whole lot. It looked very cool and good and upsetting, which is why I hated it. And also just what a horrifying haunting concept.
Yeah, like your kid all of a sudden like falls down on the ground, and then like first bugs, and that's already terrifying. But then a whole ass rattlesnake comes out of his mouth. You're like, my child has died. And I think the mom just died of a heart attack. I think she was so freaked out that because she doesn't get bit by a snake. She's already
we just
out
see her
cold
like
on the ground.
dead on the floor. That
She's
or
just
she just like
conked.
faints, and then the robots have to kill her or something like that.
Yeah,
But
off
also,
screen.
Imagine seeing your child melt and bugs come out of his face and then get bit by a rattlesnake. Like, I don't think that's a super quick death either.
There's just so much going on in that scene. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to handle.
It is
It's
gnarly.
a lot to handle. It's gnar. It's super fucking gnar. Oh my god.
It's
That's
incredible
the thing
too.
about this movie that I really liked. Is it is so bleak. And there was one moment not long after this, where they like are showing the monolith again before they get to the like montage of kids all over in all the different cities. I was like, what if the movie just ended here and they never explained it? I still think it would be a banger. And then they kind of do that with the ending where they kind of love an abrupt ending, and then they go, you can imagine from here what's going on.
I love that. Sometimes I get mad when I don't have the answer, but this I thought was really, really perfect.
But yeah, I thought the montage was so funny. Really listing so many cities. I did go, that's me when they said Los Angeles, California. But they also have Dayton, Ohio, New York, Omaha,
Seattle.
Nebraska, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Yeah, Seattle, Washington, Phoenix, Arizona. Silver Shamrock was really just out here cornering the market, like across the whole nation.
He's trying to kill every single fucking kid. And
this
he
is why
was gonna do
doing
it.
trendy things, kids, could hurt you.
Beats your
Don't you
own
want to have
drum,
an
honey.
original Halloween costume? Something you made up yourself, perhaps a DIY even.
Don't you want to be
Consider it.
corn?
Shouldn't you be corn for Halloween?
It's cone. It's got the
It's
juice.
got the juice. Yeah.
It does have the juice.
I'm thinking about being cone for Halloween.
Cute.
That would be beautiful.
Um,
Okay, the original DIY is always the way to go. No one has ever gotten over my 2000s millennium alien costume, and
It is a good one.
that was homemade. Okay, so consider it. You could go down in history.
Yeah,
but I
but
do.
yeah.
The plastic masks are cool, but also like your face sweats. It's hard to eat candy.
Hard to
You can't
see.
see. It's dark at night. You will fall down. Think about these things before you buy the mask, because we've seen many films where masks kill you at this point. There's that movie, The Mask, where the mask makes you into a weird, funny Jim Carrey guy. There's also that Goosebumps, where that sort of same thing happens. You put on that mask and you turn into a ghoulie. You gotta be careful, man. Okay.
yeah, you have to be
In-
careful. You're so
In a
right.
magical instance, it could be very, very fucked up. In a normal instance, you might crash into a wall and hurt yourself. So
That said, what about the giveaway, Monica? Did you consider that if you don't get the mask, you don't get to be part of the giveaway? Who doesn't love
Yeah,
to
but
win a
how will
prize?
they
what's
know?
the giveaway?
It doesn't say.
Well,
They
we don't
never tell
know.
you.
I mean,
we know what it is, but they don't
It's
know
death.
what it is.
win a free snake.
Wow.
You win a whole bunch of free snakes.
I win a bunch of free snakes.
Everybody's a
but you lose your
winner.
life.
Yeah.
Snakes. Some snakes.
Your
Oh my
family
God.
gets some free pets and an infestation.
Okay,
don't
but-
have to pay for college. It's a win-win.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That's actually pretty good. Free free no college. Back to what you were saying earlier, Chelsea, with the very Sydney aspect of this. I love that Cochran was like, and the stars align and I gotta do it, homie. So that's what's happening. I felt like it's Mercury retrograde, and so I'm feeling shitty, and this is how I'm acting. You know what I mean? It was beautiful. And it makes sense. If the stars say you gotta do it,
You gotta do it.
you're gonna
You
fuck with
gotta
the
do it.
stars. You don't know what would happen if you did that. Absolutely not. But
Yeah.
I felt
But
like, oh yeah, you go.
I just thought it was interesting that he has spent so many years building up this brand just to be like, actually, I think Halloween sucks and it's bad, because what the holiday is really about is the start of the year and the old Celtic lands and the barriers falling between the real and the unreal, and the dead might be looking in, and it's just like super offensive to them to see children in masks. I just think what fun motivations.
He was also like,
Incredible.
why am I doing this? Cause I can, bitch. Like, he literally is like, fuck you. I'm doing what I want. And I'm like, okay, you're a free bitch, baby, and we do love that for you. But at what cost? At what cost? I guess
Yeah,
being
it's
a witch, you got a lot of stuff to do.
I think it's fun also that they're just showing the original. I know we talked about how they're already showing the original Halloween. I think it's fun that they make such a plot point out of it. They don't just have it on the TV in the background at some scenes. You know what I mean? It's like you have to watch Halloween so that you can see the commercials for the big giveaway. And in reality, the giveaway started in the movie. They play Halloween and then the giveaway starts at 9 p.m. And the dates and days of the week that they used, like, I think really did match up to what was going on in 1982 when this movie came out. And at 9 p.m. on Halloween, in 1982 on NBC, they were like streaming the first Halloween movie. So it was like, it all tied in really nicely.
That's
I wonder how much
fun.
of it, yeah, I wonder how much of it was like cross promotional. You know what I mean?
That's so funny.
But I also, what I didn't mention earlier, because we got sidetracked talking about Andy, where you were like, you see her in this movie. And I was like, what? Jamie Lee Curtis also is the phone operator who's like, your call cannot be connected.
I was wondering who she was because I saw that she's in it. And I was like, do you just mean when we see her on the tiny TV when they're playing Halloween?
Right.
Yeah. But Tommy Lee Wallace, the director, also did some sort of one of the like phone. He's the voice of the Silver Shamrock commercial and radio spot announcers as well. So I think they were just playing around, having a fun time. They
Having a
like
good time.
call somebody Dr. Castle at one point in one of the hospital scenes, which is a nod to Nick Castle, who is one of the Michael Myers actors. They're just enjoying themselves. But yeah, the ending of this movie is so interesting. He smashes the TV playing Halloween on it, so that his own mask can't be triggered. He does such a good job throwing it immediately over the camera, which apparently
The
he
luck of
did
the
do.
Irish.
Yes, but apparently he did do it perfectly the first time in rehearsal. And then when they started filming, they had to do 1 million takes to get it. But
so
sometimes that
funny.
first go, you know, you just you nail it. I do think this whole situation could have just been avoided. Well, maybe not, but if he was just a better dad and a husband, I think a lot of things could have
He's an
played out differently.
ex-husband.
He's an ex-husband now. 'Cause
Yeah,
he
I
was
mean,
bad
well,
at being a
okay.
husband.
Yeah,
presumably.
Chelsea, if he had changed his whole life and never gotten divorced years ago, then yeah, but I feel like that's a little
Well, because he
outside of
calls
the
her.
scope.
He calls her to warn them, and she's just like, fuck you. You said you were going to come pick up the kids 5 different times in the course of this movie, and then called me to blow me off so that you could go hang out with your little hoochies.
That's fair. That's fair.
He's a
like,
horrible parent.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's a shitty parent. Being a husband is off the table, but being a parent, he's failing that too. He chose some random ass girl instead. Maybe he's trying to be like, I'll be a better father to her. And then he fucks her
Don't
instead.
say that.
I already
No.
said it.
He's like, call
Anyway.
me daddy.
Bleh.
Gross.
I can't stand him. But I did it. The ending of this movie, like, is so confusing, and there's so many things going on. He's like running all around, hiding on the roof. He finds Ellie, and he's like, "I have a beautiful plan that's so good." And I'm like, literally, how do you know how to work that million button machine to make it play the commercial inside of the factory? How did he know how to do that? Like, none of
'Cause
those
he's a
buttons said
doctor.
anything on it. I was like, okay, that's fine, do it, baby. And then it turned into a magical ring of, like, I don't know, like literally a magic witch ring with all this
An energy
the beautiful
circle is what I called
lasers,
it.
a beautiful energy circle. And I love that Cochrane's just like, touche, bitch, and doesn't move.
Got
He
me.
could have moved.
He
He's
dumped
slow
all
class.
the things on and they like fry for some reason.
Yeah, because they're activated by the song. And so
They
it freaks
are-
all those toy men, all the dick warlocks out there.
So many dick warlocks.
The way that it manifests in human flesh as bugs and in robots as just like short circuiting things is such an interesting. I mean, I think I am glad that it has a different effect on people than it does on robots. That's some interesting world building, which we just only get so much of in this film. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But very interesting choice.
And I love that, like, when Cochrane gets zippity zapped, he, like, I don't even know what he looks like right before he disappears into the ether. I don't even know what I was looking at. He like is a mannequin for a second. Like, obviously it's just supposed to be a visual effect, but it's like, I don't know what they were going for. It just made me laugh. I was like, now he just looks really fucked, and then he's gone.
Yeah. Kind of ghostified him, like vaporized him in a way a little bit.
Yeah. It was so weird. I liked it.
But that whole scene was very Invasion of the Body Snatchers also, when Donald Sutherland is like at the warehouse where they have all the pods.
Well, yeah, and then it just gets even more Body Snatchers from there, because he takes Ellie, throws her in the car, and they're off to the races trying to get home in time to like save his kids IRL. And herein lies many of my questions. How could they possibly get there in time? But whatever, that's fine. We don't need to do Google Maps for it. I don't need to get that serious. But it's straight up Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Like, it turns out Ellie is actually an android, whatever, toy girl, not Ellie anymore. And this was so funny to me. She attacks him and then gets killed, and then attacks him like 3 separate times. She comes
Like, her
back.
hand
It's so
attacks him.
funny.
The individual body parts truly just keep going.
I was like, they won't stop. Like, the arm, I thought the arm was fun. And like, also, I love when her arm got ripped off. There was that little noodle that was like pissing out weird bile, spinning around. We're like, ooh, interesting. But like, the arm attacks him, and then you can tell very clearly that it's actually her arm, and the rest of her body's just off screen. I thought that was really funny and awesome. And you know, what else were they gonna do? I that was the correct choice, filmmaker wise. But the fact that then the rest of the body comes and gets him right after, I was like, okay, let it, like, we did it already. We did it.
That was enough.
They're like, boo, boo, boo. Like, okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. They truly keep going. Her little wiggly arm wires all the way. Apparently, the actress, they like built a platform for that scene for the practical effects there, so that just her head would be sticking out. And then they had a body double as her body. And that lady's head was just like tucked underneath the platform.
That was so funny.
Yeah,
But,
and then he tries to drive away with her hand in the car, and even the hand alone, he just One
Incredible.
after the other.
But this is
And
the
then
part
the
I
gas
was
station fucking
referencing
comes back.
earlier. There are questions of when
Mhm.
Ellie became an android. Was she
Okay.
always an android? At what point did it happen? Did it happen earlier than we thought? And they asked the director, and the director was like, I don't fucking know. I don't know. He's like, honestly, I didn't think about it enough. Like, he literally was like, I don't know. I cannot tell you. I never thought about that.
Don't ask me any questions. Goodbye.
I
Straight
mean,
up.
I would assume it's when she gets snatched from the hotel room, but I guess that's a quick turnaround to make a replica of her body. But
Right?
he does seem
Yeah.
to be an expert. That one of the old lady he said is from the 1700s. So he's got his technique nailed down, I would imagine, by now.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's the technical questions about it, but then like, I mean, it wouldn't make sense for her to always have been an android and her been there just to lure him to the factory. Like, there are some people who were asking that question, and I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
what's the purpose? Because why is he like so
Why is he
involved and so
special? Yeah.
important to it? That why would he be so important to like cause all of this? But then I also have my
It's
own
because he's
questions,
so
which is what.
sexy.
Oh my god,
He's just so hot. He's main character.
yeah. They're like, oh, he's so sexy. I gotta make an android out of him. Oh, we skipped a part, but I'll circle back later. Okay, sorry, I'm laughing so hard at the part I'm thinking about. Cut that part out. Anyway, there is the part earlier that I was with the dad, and I was like, how did he get back to the whole area if his car was still at the factory the entire time? And then I was like, oh, was he like an android sooner than we thought too? Blah, 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 blah. But then why would they have come and sent someone to kill him in the first place? But I just feel like there's some like things that don't necessarily add up, and that's fine. I don't always need the answer. But I just think it's funny that the answer isn't real and there is no answer and it doesn't exist. And it's just like, sure, whatever, just go with it. Don't ask questions. That
We're
is
having a good time.
the view of the director.
Yeah, I think it's just that wherever the hospital is nearby, but a different town, like maybe an hour or two. I don't know. Like, obviously the gas station is nearby enough to run to from town should you be escaping, because that's also where the doctor ends up. He ends up at the exact same gas station as he's running away. Maybe they like
that's
sent him
probably just in
to,
close proximity, and then the hospital is in close proximity. Okay, that works for
maybe
me.
it was like the biggest hospital also. Maybe they felt like he needed some sort of special treatment or a can't say words,
Psychological.
psychiatric evaluation or something. Yeah, there's something in IMDb trivia where they were making a note because the doctors in the beginning mentioned Thorazine, which is like the medication that they mentioned in the beginning of the original Halloween that Michael Myers is on. So that's why I took note of it, just because of the link. So maybe that's why that hospital a little further away, requiring the road trip to Santa Marta, Maria, Mira, whatever it is. Mira.
Yeah. Maybe, who knows?
I think that makes sense enough. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the one part that we didn't mention that is the funniest part of the entire movie for me. Did y'all catch Dr. Dan, is that his name? Doctor's reaction to when the Cooper family dies?
And it was so sensual. He was like,
well, there is no. There is that too. But there is also this part where he just lifts up both of his little fists right next to his face, and he's like,
yes.
That
made it into my notes. Yeah, I said the doctor's fists. LOL.
That's my anguish look. It was so. I was like, no one naturally does that, and I love that you do, sir. It was a beautiful choice.
That's his artistic choice.
Anyway, but that brings us to the final ending of this movie. And like, let's be real. There's no world where you called up the news and you said the show is killing babies that they would actually turn it off. But we like to hope. What was he trying to say? He was like, oh yeah, if you don't believe me, like say that it's a bomb, that the tape is a bomb. He's doing everything that he can to save these babies. It's terrible because when something supernatural happens and you try to tell the truth, no one fucking believes you. I would believe you, but no one else is going to believe you. The rest of us on this podcast will believe you, but the news isn't going to believe you. But I think that they framed it really, really well in this this final moment that you're getting the full Halloween song. It's going on. It's so annoying. It's so like persistent. It's gonna be stuck in my head for the rest of this fucking Halloween season.
Apparently they played it like 14 times in this movie.
Yeah, they played it so many times. It's supposed to annoy you by the end. It's so grating. But the fact that those kids come in and they like are just like get drawn to the TV and keep turning the channel and turning the channel, like they did a really good job in this ending scene. Like
It's so good.
I felt the dread. And I love that you don't fucking know.
Yeah, I think it's a banger choice to just cut it there. Apparently they filmed a couple different endings, so even the main actor like didn't know what they were going with initially until he saw the finished cut for himself.
Mhm.
And apparently there's a novelization that I'll talk about a little bit more when we get to Knives Out of Fives. And the novelization is a lot more explicit about the ending. And what happens, which is to say that the original ending that they were maybe gonna go with is that you can like hear the screams of the children all over the world, essentially. And so you know that all of the kids get got. But I love to just cut it there. I think that's so fascinating. I think that's such a strong choice.
Yeah,
I love it.
but also if they all died,
Screams of
that'd
children would be pretty cool.
so
Yeah.
fucked up. No, everyone, I mean, imagine how much more people in the 80s would have hated it if that had happened.
Right?
Especially with all the satanic panic stuff in the 80s too.
Oh yeah, seriously. Oh my god. They did like a screen test with an audience and they're like, all right, so the one where all the kids all die and turn into snake bugs. Maybe that's not the one we go with. Okay, well then that brings us to our segments. The first one being, how could this movie be gayer? I'd like to start by saying Ellie could be gay and therefore not fuck the doctor, and I would be a happier girl.
Yeah, I really wanted it to be Ellie's movie and not the doctor's movie. And like, well, you'd have to change significant things at this point for it to be her movie. Namely, she wouldn't be able to get robotified. But I think it would work better, even if she was still fucking an older doctor. I think it would work better for him to be robotified and for her to be a scraggly final girl. You know what I mean? I'd like that more.
I think the doctor should have also been hitting on all of the men.
Horny
throughout
for
this
everybody.
movie. Horny
Yes,
for everybody.
That's right. If you're going to make him a horn dog, he should
You're
at least
gonna
have
make
the
him
gall
a
to be
horn dog.
bisexual.
A bisexual horn dog. Oh my god, if he was like trying to hit on Dick Warlock before he realized something was up.
Right? It would have been so good.
He's cute. Okay, he looked nice in the suit. We talked about that. Oh my god. Yeah, I think there's not a lot of characters here. I think that Cochran is definitely queer in some way. I feel like to be a witch, there's kind of a queer vibe that comes into that.
Maybe he did all of this so him and the doctor could be together.
Cute.
That's a lot of work.
He's like, I have to get rid of your children because I don't realize you're already a bad parent. You would have just left anyways. So we're going to come up with this elaborate plan.
Wow, the honeymoon period's going to end so fast when he realizes his actual perfect man is a bad parent.
Well, because he wants to get rid of all the kids and he can't just get rid of these 2 kids. That would be suspicious. So he has to get rid of all of the
every
kids.
single kid.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
makes like
it
a
makes
lot
sense.
of sense, actually. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think the scene where the town, the guy who asks for the drink, where he is on his knees between the two men, that felt a little gay to me. I did get some gay vibes from Ellie. There was like one part of her outfit, I think, struck me as like really gay. Her little bandana, that struck me
That's gay.
as very gay. Yeah, that felt right to me.
Her and Madge.
They could have been flirting in that scene, maybe a little bit.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think
like
it
that-
would have been more fun with lesbians for sure.
I agree. Most things are.
Uh-huh. I mean, and you could have had the doctor be like a young nurse at the hospital or something, you know what I mean? Bring it a little more down to the level.
yeah,
there's space.
they just wanted Tom Atkins in there, and I know that
They
he is
really
a
wanted him to
beloved
be the
actor.
hero.
Yeah.
And to me, nobody who is such a terrible parent, etc., is the hero. They have to
Super.
have a better redemption tour
Redemption
than
arc,
he
yeah.
did. Yeah, he blew off his kids so much, and there are moments where it's like, okay, if there is a serial killer at large or whatever, and you're saving your kids, sure, but he didn't have enough information to come to any conclusions that his personal kids were in danger yet, when he really started to be like, I'm gonna go upstate with this cute little girl,
Ugh.
and we're gonna investigate a mystery. I suspect he was finding quote unquote good excuses to fuck off all the time.
Yeah, seems like it. Well, that brings us to where would Matthew Lillard fit into this film? And was
doctor.
he a child doctor? He could have been one of the kids in
He
one
could
of
have
the
been one of the
masks.
kids.
No, I want like
but
Matthew
adult-
Lillard now. to
Yeah,
be
you
the
want time
doctor.
traveling Matthew Lillard.
Or remake, he plays the doctor. I would love that. That would actually be amazing.
Because then it makes sense that he's so horny.
Because, oh my God. I like him as the doctor in the remake. That is definitely going to
Sure.
happen because everyone loves Halloween 3 Season of the Witch.
Everyone
so they
loves.
will
Look,
certainly make a remake of it.
they already rebooted the franchise. I don't see why Halloween Ends shouldn't have its own Season of the Witch sequel.
Could you imagine if Halloween Ends, like they've just been like using old footage and it's actually just going to be Season of the Witch? Everyone would be so mad. I'd be so happy.
Well, but that's the thing is that they wanted with the Halloween franchise. We talked about this in the original Halloween episode back in April. They wanted it to be like a totally different story every installment, I think, right?
And, no, they did. And then they couldn't do that for the second one because it was immediately in production as soon as the first one came out and did so well. And then John Carpenter was like, we can still do that though. Right?
He gave it his best shot. You know, he honored their request. But yeah, I mean, it didn't work out. And it wasn't meant to be, and that's okay.
I think it worked out well for us right now. I had a good time. That brings us to the dumb bitch. Who is the dumb bitch?
The doctor.
The doctor. Yeah, he is a dumb bitch. He's so dumb.
Yeah.
And he's a bitch.
Yeah.
I don't even, no argument. We don't have to say anymore. It's clear. He's like, no, I'm not the dumb bitch. But too bad. That brings us to our knives out of 5s. So I know people hated it, but how much did they hate it?
It has a 5 out of 10 on IMDb, and it has 47% rotten from critics on Rotten Tomatoes. It has a 28% rotten from audiences on Rotten Tomatoes. So I mean, like I mentioned earlier, there is a novelization of this movie. And what's super interesting is that the novel was very, very successful, actually. And they ended up doing like a reissue even 2 years later, where they reprinted it and put it on shelves again. So I think there is like it's a like I said, it's kind of a strong story. There's like some things that they're very much hand waving away, but the issue really seems to be that people were expecting a Michael Myers movie and then they didn't get it, so they walked away going, "What the fuck was that?"
Yeah.
And I think that's fair.
Yeah, I mean,
Right? They should have just named this like Season of the Witch and not have it be a Halloween movie, and it would have slapped.
I think it's fun that it's a Halloween movie.
I think that
I think
it's
calling
hilarious.
it Halloween 3 is the problem. Like if you just called it Halloween hyphen Season of the Witch, I think even that would be slightly different vibes. But calling it Halloween 3 implies that it is a sequel to Halloween 2 in some capacity. It simply is not. It's a completely
Yeah.
different universe where magic is real and there are humanoid robot androids. You know what I mean? Like it's just a totally different thing. And I love that it's in the Halloween franchise and that it references the original Halloween so much. I think it would have been really fun if they'd been able to continue that vibe where they do a different anthology Halloween story each year. I think this would be like looked on a lot more fondly if it had the benefit of that context. Tragically, no.
Yeah. So what would you rate it?
Like I said, I watched it at a faster speed than it was intended to be viewed, which I think really did help my viewing experience. I think I would have liked it less if it felt slow because it already feels kind of slow a little bit. That said, it is only a tight 90 for the most part, like maybe 100 minutes. It's not a long movie. And I think it's fun. I really like the ending. I like that they just were so committed to this like story that they really wanted to bring it to fruition no matter the Michael Myers of it all. So I would probably give it like a solid 3.9 knives out of 5. Like it's not 4 range, but I feel positively about it. I would watch it with somebody else again, because I do think all the spookiness, the manifesting bugs, snakes, etc. I do think that's so creepy and well done. Not for the faint of heart. But there are a lot of elements I would improve upon if I were in the writer's room or whatever.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel like I was really jazzed at the beginning of this movie because when I found out this was a sci-fi horror, I was like, holy fucking shit, I love sci-fi. And I love a lot of the themes that they used. I love a lot of the visuals that they had. I love a lot of the practical effects that they used. They had like all the pieces were there, but I don't think they all were perfect. You know, it's like one of those puzzles that's cut kind of shitty. And so like the piece is supposed to fit, but it doesn't. It doesn't really fit. You're jamming it in there. It's kind of how this movie felt for me, and it did feel really long, even though it wasn't that long. Which I just think they drew out some of those chase scenes for so long. I was like,
Yeah.
why? Like, there's
Because it
nothing
had to be 90
happening.
minutes, okay?
Yeah,
They
I
had to
was
make
like,
it at
oh my
least 90
God.
minutes.
Make up another character and kill them with a drill. Like, we didn't talk about that, but that was a sick kill, by the way. But yeah, for me, I'm starting out season 3 of Spooky Tuesday with a 3 for this movie. Very on theme. I'm glad that I watched it. I love it so much because it said fuck you to Michael Myers and pissed everybody off. I love it. I love that it's like being like, yeah, we'll do whatever we want, even though it doesn't make any sense. Like, that's brave. It's bold.
Commit to your vibes. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Listen, a 3
but
for
it's
a
not
3
for
for
me.
a 3.
Yeah.
333, baby. Angel numbers.
What did you think, Sid?
I'm giving this a 4 out of 5. I love this movie. It is batshit bananas insane in like the best possible way. It has great practical effects. The story is like, I don't even care. Know what I mean? I'm just like, they stole Stonehenge. They stole Stonehenge.
They stole Stonehenge.
I love it. It's a movie that should be played every Halloween to get you in the mood for spooky season. And that's
I agree.
what we are doing.
That's perfect. I'm glad we started out the season with this. It's just our vibe of Unhinged. It's setting the tone for the season to come, and wowee. It's gonna be something else. Next week we're taking it to a different decade, but something that's just as classic as the Halloween franchise, I would say. This is the movie that made M. Night Shyamalan the man he is today. This is the iconic The Sixth Sense.
I'm so excited to watch this movie.
I don't think I've seen it since the very first time I saw it.
It's
Really?
actually perfect timing because I'm watching The OC for the first time right now, and The Sixth Sense has Misha Barton.
It does.
Fuck yeah. Here's the thing. I've only bought like 2 movies ever in my whole life on iTunes. And one of them is Camp Rock. And the other one is The Sixth Sense.
That tracks, honestly.
That's
quite
so on
frankly.
brand.
Yeah, I don't know when I watched this movie, but it was on my computer and I was younger. And I knew kind of what the twist was because it was so ubiquitous at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like still blown away. Like I was like, whoa. So I'm really excited to revisit this and like see where it all started for M. Night so we can see how far he's fallen to get to old.
Monica's on her old hate agenda these days.
I'm gonna bring it up. It has to come up, okay? I'm not an M. Night hater, okay? I'm actually an M. Night stan, so don't worry.
Wait, which one of
But-
you hasn't seen The Happening again?
Me.
We're gonna do The Happening one day.
It's, oh my god. I'm gonna be like screaming and yelling the whole time.
I mean,
gonna
what's
have
new?
to- I'm gonna have to turn my mic gain down like a bunch, otherwise it's just gonna peak out. Anyway, we're really excited to be embarking on our 3rd season of Spooky Tuesday with y'all. So thanks for continuing to join us. Why not give us a new season gift of a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts? It's a new season, but we still love haiku reviews. But if you would like to write normal words that don't have any sort of rhyming cadence or syllable thing going on, that's fine. You could also do iambic pentameter though if you want to.
If you
we're
want.
We're open to any form. You can also follow us on social media. We're at spooky_Tuesday on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We're at Spooky Tuesday Pod on Facebook and Tumblr, and at Spooky Tuesday on Letterboxd. And maybe this season we'll release one more YouTube video. Wouldn't you hate to miss it? Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Thanks for listening. Happy spooky season.
Bye, Spooky.
Honey, don't get too close. You'll ruin your eyes.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Height, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamara Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Captain Tamara, and our podcast art is by Mary Murphy, who you can find on Instagram at the_moon_OMG.